Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful Boise, Idaho. My name is Becky B., and I'm this week's featured vocalist. I've been dreaming of friendly faces. I've got so much time to kill. Just imagine people laughing. I know someday we will. And even if it's far away, get me through another day. Cover me in sunshine, shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. Cover me in sunshine. From a distance, all these mountains are just some tiny hills. Wildflowers, they keep living while they're just standing still. And I've been missing yesterday, but what if there's a better place? Cover me in sunshine, shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. Oh, cover me in sunshine, shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. Cover me in shower me with good times, and everything will be alright. Cover me in sunshine.
Good morning, CSL Boise. I'm J.J. Bullock, your board member of the day. I'm going to introduce to you this wonderful house band of ours. We have Ted McClurg this morning on bass. We have Phil Bowden on drum, and our wonderful Rex Miller, director, on keyboard. And Becky B. is our entertainer of the day. And you can go to her, you have an email the website? It will be on the CSL website soon. I want to thank, we have Christine and Robert Spence greeting us at the door today. We have Cheryl Hudon being our videographer. We have Mary Borg, was our cosmic cleaner of the week. And our practitioner of the day is none other than Reverend Jackie Holland. I will welcome her to come up. Prayer? You come up now for prayer? Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's just take a moment, Rex. Let's just take a moment. And if you're comfortable closing your eyes right now, just sense and feel into this room, into the love of God that is right here. Let your heartbeat slow down. Feel your heart opening. And just breathe into those strong, healthy lungs in gratitude. In gratitude for our health, for our strength, for our faith. Feel yourself being lifted with hope, enthusiasm, and possibility. It is my honor to introduce Francis Ray, who will light our world religion candles this morning. Every Sunday we stand here and we light these candles to remind us that there are over 4,000 different religions around the globe, and the one thing that we know is that we are all one. That in spite of the different teachings and the different paths that lead to God, if we just but seek enough, if we study enough, we can determine, as our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, said, that within every religion there are eternal truths, there are principles, and there are things upon which we can all agree. And so this morning, we light from the Christ candle, we light our world religions candles. We light the first candle for the Christian faiths. So many faiths by different names, but they all teach that the Christ consciousness is the path of love. We light the second candle for Islam. For in spite of what the world will have us believe about this beautiful faith, at its core, their chief religious discipline is prayer. It is in Islam that we learn, treat people kindly in this world, and you will have kindness. We light the third candle in honor of Taoism. It is pointed out, can you not see that wisdom is trust, goodness is acceptance, and contentment is simplicity? We light the fourth candle for Buddhism. The goal of Buddhism is to let go, to release. And so we light this candle so that all things that do not serve us can be released. The fifth and final candle honors new thought, letting go of all that opposes your purpose and a reliance on the law of God and an unqualified trust of spirit, understanding that we are co-creators with the divine creator of all. So let us quiet our minds and open our hearts to this prayer song coming through Becky B.
Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have all you need, it's all inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the Lift your sails in faith and trust that you will arrive. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Oh, let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. Let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. Oh, let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. Let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. Float into the mystery. Float into the mystery. Float into the mystery.
Letting go, letting go, letting go. We just step into the great mystery of life, where we know and understand and accept that there is one power, one presence, one source of life that is forever and ever having its expression through each and every one of us, known by so many different names, followed by so many different paths. But ultimately, we know that this mystery is love. And so we step into this love now as we bless our activities today. We bless this thing known on the human level as the Center for Spiritual Living in Boise, Idaho. We bless it, for we know it is a divine idea in the mind of God. We bless every activity, thought, word, deed, and emotion of today's service. How blessed we are to be together in community and to let love be the cement that ties all of us with each other in this room, with those on Facebook Live, and all people around this world. And this morning we speak a special word of blessing for our speaker, Miss Shelley Butler. For her enthusiasm and her love and zest for life comes through so strongly. And we bless the receptive ears and the receptive open hearts of those who hear the words. We know that this day is so good, and we give thanks for that now. And so it is. Amen. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Becky B.
Got something to tell you. When you wish upon a star, your dreams will take you very far. But when you wish upon a dream, life ain't always what it seems. What you see on a night so clear, in the sky so very deep, you're a shining star. No matter who you are, you're shining bright to see what you can truly be, what you can truly be. One, two, three, four, shining star. star coming to view. Shine its watchful light on you. Give you strength to carry on. Make your body big and strong. Born a child of the sun, found I had to stand alone. Saw my work had just begun. Blessed, now I got my own. So if you find yourself in need, why don't you listen to these words of heat? Be a giant grain of sand, words of wisdom, yes I can. You're a shining star, no matter who you are. Shine bright to see what you can truly be. Yes, yes, yes. You're a shining star, no matter who you are. Shine bright to see what you can truly be. Oh, 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 you're a shining star, no matter who you are. You shine bright to see what you could truly be. Hey, shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Oh, a shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
It is my honor to introduce our special speaker today, wherever it went. So, Shelley Butler grew up in Boise, and her favorite place to be was and still is in the outdoors. Time in the foothills, exploring trails, and camping in the mountains, or anything that has to do with water makes her very happy. After high school graduation, she packed her bags and headed for big city living, school in Utah, time in Boston, and work at a rehab hospital in Denver made for years of exploration and learning what life really had in store for her. During her 20 years of education and exploring the world, she met both curious and wonderful people on her journey. Her life was filled with more growth and unexpected delight than she could have ever imagined. Shelley had no plans of moving back to Boise, but the universe had different intention and called her back home. Shelley says, "I'm happy to be here among this CSL community, journeying alongside of us." She considers it a privilege. We get this beautiful opportunity to explore and grow together. And this week, it is our honor to have her here sharing with us if it's worth the time and effort and still to have curiosity to what can look and feel like in your life. Welcome, Shelley. Come on up.
Hello? Hello? Okay, here we go. First of all, I just want to thank Becky and the band because I'm a huge fan of live music, and I so appreciate the energy that they bring with us today. So I was kind of finding myself laughing as I came up here because it wasn't that long ago that I first stepped into this sanctuary, and I kind of sat in the back. I made sure I was late, so I didn't have to talk to anyone, and no one would talk to me. And I actually don't remember what Reverend Jackie was talking about, except for at the end. She invited a woman up here and she was leaving. And so she wanted to bless this woman. And Reverend Jackie invited all of us to participate in this blessing. And I remember holding up my hands, and for the first time in my life, gave myself permission to use my authority to bless and love someone else. And from my personal background, that was a huge deal. And I remember a fire lit within me, and all I could hear over and over and over again is, keep coming back here. Keep coming back here. And I am so, so glad that I did. And it was, I laughed on the way up here because it was like the exact opposite experience for me today. I came here early, and my purpose was to talk to all of you. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for everyone in Facebook land as well. And really, my purpose here today is to invite you to maybe do something that you've never considered doing before in your life, and that is to date yourself. To take the time and energy to develop a more personal intimacy with yourself by dating yourself. And the reason why I'm doing this is actually quite a selfish one, but I don't care. It's because I need you. I need you to do and be you. Like the song that we just heard, we are all shining stars, right? We have a purpose. We are divine and unique, and there's something only you can do and offer me. And the same with me. I like it the way Michael Beckwith said it, actually. He said, you are the only you. If you won't do you, you won't get done. Okay, the same goes for me. There's no reason for me to be up here on the stage trying to be like Reverend Jackie. There's no reason for me to be and try and like do a second-rate version of anyone else, because there's only something I have to offer and give to you, just as there's only something you have to offer and give to me. So why date yourself? What is the reason and purpose behind that? And you know what? Well, I knew I was going to do that. I didn't start my timer, so I'm going to need someone to kind of give me a heads up on my timing, okay? Okay, so why date ourselves? And why would I even do that for myself, okay? We all have these catalysts in our lives. Some are big and some are small, right? Like some of the catalysts can be a death of a loved one, a new job, health crisis, a new baby, whatever it is. And my catalyst in my life, I found myself at the end of 2 relationships. And I found myself at the end of 2 relationship breakups. The first one was a long-term relationship of 10 years, and shortly after that, I started dating someone else. And 7 months later, they broke up with me, right? And I felt like this rug being pulled out from underneath me, okay? And not only was it being pulled out from underneath me when they left, they took the rug away. And I was like, rude. That is so rude. And it actually ended up being one of the scariest moments of my life, because I saw for the first time these piles and piles of stuff that I had swept underneath this rug. And it left me stunned, breathless, and not knowing what to do with my life. And my first thought was, oh my gosh, I'm going to go buy another rug. I was really good at that, right? And this time I'm going to get an even bigger rug, because apparently that was my coping mechanism, was just to sweep it underneath the rug. Or I realized I could also use this as an invitation to meet these parts of my life that were, in all reality, complete strangers to me. And I wasn't quite sure how to meet them. I'm like, how do I even approach these piles? I mean, I'm talking about like grief, pain, all the things, all the bits that I did not want to deal with. And so as I thought about it and I considered what I could do to meet these parts of me that were complete strangers, I realized that I could do the same thing that I had done with these 2 relationships at once they were strangers. And the way that I got to meet them and understand them and develop this relationship and connection was to date. I dated them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I should date myself. I could date myself. I should date myself to get to know, to be able to touch and feel into these unhealed, swept away things, bits of my life, right? Everything from my mind, body, and soul, all the parts that I had swept away. So that's what I decided to do. From that moment on, I decided to take 4 seasons, a whole year, 365 days, to intentionally date myself so I could get to know myself, so I can understand who I am and what is mine to do, and to become that bright, shiny star that Becky was singing about before. So for the purposes of this conversation, I broke up dating into 3 stages. We have the meet, we have the mingle, and then we have the manure. So these are the 3 stages that we're going to talk about. And if we think about the meet, mingle, and manure with other people, what it looks like is, in the meet stage, we're finding out the who, what, and hows of the person, right? We're asking all sorts of questions. We're observing behaviors. And it's really just a big stage of inquiry, right? And once we're in that stage and we're like, ooh, I kind of like this person, like me likey, I want to take it on to the next stage, and I want to mingle with this person, right? And the mingle stage is this intentional and purposeful time that we give to the person in order to create connection, build relationship, and develop an intimacy. So we bring the inquiry stage in with the meet, but we also expand it to explore the whys of the person. And so, and then there's the manure stage. Now, I love the mingle stage, and I absolutely love the manure stage, because what the manure stage is, anything that we do to tend to and nourish the relationship. Okay. What I want to propose is that the same way that we date other people is the same way we can date ourselves, by mingling, and manuring with all these different aspects of ourselves. Okay. There is one little caveat, though. We can't break up with ourselves. Right? Now, don't get me wrong, during this process, I absolutely realized parts of me that I had divorced. There was parts that I had separated myself from. There's parts that I completely ignored, or the relationship status of it's complicated, right? But there were parts that I found out that I was absolutely deeply in love with myself. And there was things that I did not want to live without ever. So, and all the relationships come and go. But the relationship with ourselves doesn't. So we get to take the time, we can take the time and energy to really develop this personal, beautiful relationship with ourselves. So I'm going to spend the rest of our time together by showing you what it looked like and felt like for me to meet, mingle, and manure with myself for these 365 days. Okay? So again, I'm going to start with the meet stage. And the meet, again, is to find out the who, what, and how of ourselves, right? By asking ourselves questions and observing our behavior. Okay? I want to start with a story that illustrated what really was helpful for me during this stage. And it actually happened with my dad, and it was a few years ago, and my dad and I were in conversation. And all of a sudden, he stopped me. And he's like, Shelly, I have to tell you something. And I was like, okay, Dad. and he put his hand on my forearm just like this. And he looked me right in the eye, and he's like, Shelly, I need you to know I take you as I find you. And even right now, as I talk about that, I get little shivers thinking about that, because my dad modeled to me something that I had never, ever done for myself. To take me as I find me, right? And as I was meeting myself, I realized I was not doing that with myself. I spent so much time and energy and heartache and actually doing the exact opposite. Right? I found myself being so judgmental of myself. So imagine this. This is what it was kind of like for me. Like, let's say after our conversation here, or after service, right? We walk up to someone we don't know, and we're like, hi, tell me your name. And they're like, well, my name's Dave, and I'm an archaeologist, and I really like to mountain bike. And I'm like, Dave, actually, I don't really like your name, so I'm going to call you Sam. And I don't think that you should be an archaeologist. Little timeout. Anyone in here is an archaeologist? I really don't think this way. Time back in. I really think archaeology is a waste of time, and you shouldn't be digging in the dirt. I think you should go be a marine biologist, right? And instead of mountain biking, why don't you take pictures of birds, right? I would never, ever do that with someone, ever, right? But I found myself doing that with myself. When I was meeting these different aspects of myself, my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs, I instantly went to judgment, right? And the other thing that I found myself doing is actually competing with my past versions of myself and future versions of myself. So it kind of looked like this, like, oh, hey, Shelley, let's say I'm feeling something. And I'm like, oh, I never used to feel that way, or that never used to bother me, or why I never, And so that was me competing with my past self. And then there'd be like, oh God, I should be so much further along in my journey, and why am I still dealing with this? And it was like, my future self would never, wouldn't be there. So it was like this judgment and this competition with my past and future versions of myself. So what I want to declare the meet stage, and one thing I want you to take away, is that this is a no competition, no comparison zone, right? This is an opportunity for us to meet ourselves where we find ourselves in a loving, kind way. And this does take practice. So please have some space and grace for yourself. So I am going to share one quick exercise on how this, it is a simple exercise, not saying that it's easy, but a way that we can meet ourselves. So the way I do this is, and I personally am a very visual person, so I like to write it down, but everyone has a different processing. So if your thing is art, if your thing is being out in nature, however you want to do this. But for me, I take a piece of paper and I write who, what, and how. Okay? So the who is, for example, like I was meeting Dave, right? But when we're meeting the who's in our own life, these are the emotions. These are the experiences that we're feeling, right? So I'll use an example. Okay. And I'm going to go back to the lovely piles that were underneath my rug, right? And I'm going to use grief, because that was a big pile that I had not dealt with in my life. So under the who, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. We have the who, the what, and the how. Okay? In this instance, the who is my grief, right? I'm personifying these emotions. And if it even helps, like if we're dealing with different aspects of ourselves, like let's say it's our intuition, our inner child work, or whatever it is, we can actually name them. Like my intuition, I named her Lake Sabe. So if there's things that I'm dealing with my intuition, like I use her name. So anyways, but in this example, the who is grief, okay? And under the how is, the what happened. And in this instance, the grief that was undealt with in my own personal life was that someone that was near and dear to my heart was killed unexpectedly by a drunk driver. And the how, my feeling about it was, man, I feel totally gypped. I didn't get to say goodbye. I was angry. Oh, I was so angry at the drunk driver, and it was one of the hardest things that I had to deal with in my life. So that is just an example of how we can meet ourselves. There's all different things that we're meeting, and we're all at different places in our journey, right? So I'm going to go on to the mingle. So with the mingle, we continue with the meet, but it's creating this connection, building relationship, and deepening this intimacy, right? And we do this by creating intentional time with ourselves to explore our whys. Now, our whys, there's so many whys. Why do I respond like that? Why do I keep eating that, even though I know it doesn't make my body feel good? Why am I picking up my phone to text my ex? Why, right? And some of our whys are very apparent and obvious, and some of our whys aren't so much. And one other why that I think is super important for us to consider here, I think is best illustrated in this quick little story. So there's a woman, and she's making a pot roast, and every time she makes a pot roast, she cuts off the end of the pot roast. And her husband's like, oh, why do you do that? And she's like, I don't know, my mom. That's how my mom made the pot roast, right? So one time she went and asked her mom, hey, Mom, why do you cut off the end of the pot roast when you're putting it in the oven? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Like, my mom used to do that. And so, fortunately, Grandma was still alive, so they went and talked to Grandma, and they're like, hey, Grandma, why did you cut the end of the pot roast off? And Grandma was like, oh, I just never had a pan that was big enough, so I had to cut it in order to cook it, right? But I think this is a great illustration for me. This is a great illustration of how, like, some of my whys are just conditioned, that I'm domesticated, that I'm asleep, that I'm unaware, whatever adjective you want to use, like autopilot mode, whatever it is. Now, this is also a really easy time, and maybe this is more of a reflection on me than on anyone else in this room, but this is also not a time to get all judgy on yourself, right? This is just a time to explore our whys and to explore our intentions and motivations behind our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And what was a beautiful thing for me as I mingled with all these different aspects of myself is that I learned how to move more from love than for love. I'm going to say that again. As I mingled with myself, explored my intentions and motivations, and became more intimate with myself, I was able to move more from love than for love. Let me just give you a quick example. You know, earlier I just stated, like, ooh, why am I picking up my phone to text my ex, right? If I took a hot second and just was like, okay, checking in, why am I doing that? Oh, I'm lonely, and I know they're going to respond. For love. Do it again. Why am I picking up my phone to text my ex? Oh, I'm really concerned at how she's doing. I know this time of year is a really hard time of year. From love. Okay? And I just think it's really, really, really a really, really useful tool, and things, same behavior, right? I'm still picking up my phone to text my ex. Different intention and motivation behind it. So, there are many ways to facilitate the mingle, but the one that I'm going to share with you today is one that it was the hardest one, actually, for me to incorporate into my dating with myself. And this is the idea that everyone has a place at the table. Okay, so when it comes to those easier emotions, the easier things to mingle with, right? I'm like, oh, come sit down. Like, let me fix you a plate. Oh, your plate's empty? Let me put some more on your plate. Can you tell me that story again? I know you've said it 9 times, but I do want to hear it again, right? Like, with those type of emotions, it's so easy to have around. But what I want everyone, what was really important for me is to consider is that every emotion is valid. Every emotion has something to teach me. And in all reality, it was those emotions and experiences that I had swept underneath the rug that were really the most meaningful. If I was able and willing to facilitate the mingle and spend time with them, those are the ones that really, really taught me more about me than anything else. Okay? I now consider them my signal flares or invitations that for an opportunity to uncover and unfold even more. Now, is it always comfortable? Absolutely not, right? But I know that it's an opportunity for growth like none other. So during this time of dating myself, there were 3 main emotions that were hard for me to deal with. Well, I dealt with a lot, and they're more of a struggle. That's my loneliness, my fear, and my anger. Okay, I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about my fear and how I faced my fear. Now, I had met my fear. I knew that my fear had stopped me from doing a lot of things, right? Fear of failure, fear of judgment of others, fear of not belonging, fear of like that created body issues. So that's how I met my fear. I knew it was there, and I knew that it was stopping me and holding me back from doing certain things. Now, how I mingled with my fear, it actually all started with a 6-year-old boy and a podcast. So, really quickly, this little boy, 6 years old, I was in a park. My sister and I were there with my nephews, and this boy comes whipping around the corner, and he's pedaling a Batmobile, like little bike, those little. Anyways, he was pedaling. He was head to toe, mask, cape. He embodied Batman. And when he swerved around and went in front of us, like he didn't move, like we had to get out of his way, and he pulled his car around, and he just demanded everyone's attention because he was Batman. 2 days later, I was listening to a podcast, and the gentleman that was speaking, he said, he was actually talking about fear, and he said, I'm really trying to be more like Bruce Wayne. You know Batman? And I was like, yeah, I know Batman. I just saw him like 2 days ago. And he's like, I am trying to be more like Bruce Wayne, because what was Bruce Wayne's biggest fear? Bats. And what did he do? Instead of running away from his fears, he embodied his fear. He became a bat. He created a bat cave. He created a Batmobile. Like, his biggest fear became his biggest superpower. And he said one thing that he did in order to help him do that, to face his own fears, was to create a fear list. At the end of each year, he would write a list of things that scared him, that caused fear in his life. And he would take the next year and work through the list. And I was like, ooh, that's probably a really good idea. So I created my own fear list because I decided that I was no longer going to sweep. Well, I was going to try to no longer sweep the things in my life, and that I was going to try and embody my fears. So instead of sweeping them away, I started mingling with them and wearing them, holding their hand, sometimes inviting them into my space. So I would wear my fears. Because I, too, wanted to be like Bruce Wayne, to embody my fears so that I can understand myself better and have a more intimate relationship with myself. So I created a fear list myself, and I'll share with you my fear list for this year. Number 1, write the book. Number 2, learn how to belly dance. And number 3, sing on stage. Now, I realize as I'm standing here, I have the opportunity to sing right now for you. I'm on stage and I could sing. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that to Becky today. But one day I will do that. Okay, during this year, I also challenged myself to not only address my list, but anything that came up during my year of dating myself that would cause me fear. So I did things like trapeze class, because I drove by and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so scary. And then I was like, oh no, now I have to do it. And I did it. And it was scary, but I did it. Somedaying my life away. What that meant to me is like I stopped traveling because I was by myself. I stopped traveling by myself or doing activities by myself that really feed me, going up into the mountains, stuff like that. So I rented a wander van and spent 5 days up in the mountains by myself. I did activities like snowshoeing and hiking and all these things by myself because I did not want to someday my life away. So, as we meet and mingle, we also get to now manure. And some of you might be like, why in the world is this girl talking about manure on a Sunday on stage and about dating yourself? Well, if we think about what manure is an amazing organic source, right? Used to fertilize and amend the soil. It facilitates growth, it increases nutrient retention, and it results in these higher producing crops. So if we think about manure in that way, then I'm like, yes, please, to any of that in my relationship with myself, right? And so there are many sources of manure that I use during the year of dating myself. But my honorable mentions are, and some of my favorite sources are spiritual practices. And the Holy Trinity for me has been and is and will continue to be yoga, meditation, and prayer and affirmation work. And another amazing manure source is gratitude. And really, gratitude has become like an energy frequency changer for me. Rumi said, wear gratitude like a cloak and it will feed every corner of your life. But the one that I do want to spend just a few minutes on is the power of our perspective change. Now, a couple weeks ago, if you were here, Ophelia talked about this when she spoke of how life happens for us and not to us. And I just thought that was so profound, and it's such an amazing source to tend to ourselves as we go through our life and have these experiences with ourselves. Now, I want to just add to what she was saying in the fact of learning how to expand my capacity to view my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs in different ways by implementing the maybe, just maybe, and the what if, just what if. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. Having this power of perspective change, life happening for us, not to us, by implementing the maybe, just maybe, and what if, just what if. And this is what this looks like for me. And this is something that happened to me during this time that really brought this to the front burner. Okay. I, as mentioned before, I'm a nature girl. I love being outside. I love being in the mountains. And most of all, I love sunsets. I am a sunset seeker. I even have a photo album of just sunset pictures of places I've seen from all over the world, or my friends send me pictures because they know that I'm a little bit of a junkie, right? So during this process, I was reading Mark Nepo. I don't know if anyone is familiar with him. If you're not, he is an amazing author. And he has this day book, and I was reading his day book, and he was like, hey, people, you know sunsets? And I'm like, yeah. So it perked my interest really quickly because I'm into sunsets. And he's like, there's no such thing as a sunset. And I was like, what is he talking about? Of course there's a sunset. I love them. And he's like, actually the sun never sets. It's the earth that rotates away from the sun that creates the illusion of the sun setting and rising. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's so right. All my 43 years, I have bought into this fact that the sun sets, and it actually really doesn't. Right? So what if, so this is how the perspective change came for me. What if, how I perceive or believe a situation is, no matter how long I've believed it, really isn't always the reality of what's going on. And maybe, just maybe, when I experience darkness and confusion, it's me who's rotating away from my source. Just like the earth rotates away from the sun, its source. And going back to my catalyst and how this perspective change has been a game changer for me, going back to my experience of the catalyst that I was explaining earlier, what if those breakups happened for me and not to me? And maybe, just maybe, these breakups are actually break opens. Game changer. Meet, mingle, manure. A couple tips and tricks I'm going to leave with you before our time ends. No, this is a non-linear process. It's not like, okay, I'm meeting, I'm mingling with this, and now I'm going to manure it. Ta-da, I'm done, right? This is a very fluid process. We go back and forth through it all, and we might be meeting something for the first time, and we're manuring some other aspect of ourselves, and we're mingling with this aspect of ourselves, and then we go back and meet another something that we thought we were manuring. It's non-linear, okay? Expect all the feels. One day it's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself, ever. And the next day you could be like, well, I'm speaking from personal experience, a ball on the floor crying because this is the hardest thing I've ever done for myself. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Just expect all the feels. It's going to happen, okay? Have an SOS plan, right? We are, how do I want to say this? The steps are mine alone to take, but we journey together. Okay? So have an SOS plan. If there are times when I was journeying, but taking these steps and it felt so overwhelming, this was an SOS that I did. I picked 2 people and I asked them if they would be willing to help me out. And every time I sent them a specific emoji, they responded with an actual script that I had given them. Nothing else. They weren't asking me how I was. It was a certain script that they wrote to help me with myself as I was going through this experience. Celebrate yourself. Oh my gosh. Become your biggest cheerleader and fan. Okay? Celebrate along the way. Whatever that looks like to you. If you're going to celebrate only yelling at 5 people on the way to work with their stupid driving versus 10, oh my gosh, do it. Celebrate all the little increments. Right? Celebrate flowers, massages, whatever it is, right? One of my favorite celebrations was at the end of the year. I was like, oh, it's my 1-year anniversary. Fantastic. This is so awesome. And I'm like, if I was with someone else, of course I would go on an anniversary trip or do something big. And I'm like, why would I not do that with myself? And so I took myself on a 1-year anniversary trip to the Oregon coast, got a condo on the beach, made sure it had a hot tub so I could watch the sunset I could watch the earth rotate around away from the sun to create this illusion of a sunset every day because I love it. I love it, okay? And the last thing that I want to just, another tips and tricks is just have fun. Dating is, for as important and as valuable as it is to be able to understand who we are and what is ours to do, and it can get serious, and it is really important. It is also so fun, or so important to have fun and to not take ourselves too seriously. So I'm gonna close the conversation and the invitation to consider dating yourself as an avenue to be able to get to know yourself and to understand what is yours to give. And I want to go back to the experience of the first time that I was here in this sanctuary, right? As I sat in that back corner, not wanting to talk to anyone, and I kept hearing, keep coming back here, keep coming back here. I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, that invitation wasn't just referring to this sanctuary. That maybe, just maybe, it was referring to this sanctuary, to me. So, this practice of dating myself has been the most effective and meaningful way that I've found to do just that. So thank you so much. You matter, loves.
You know, here's the question. Shelley, thank you so much. Don't you love her belts? I was thinking as Shelley was speaking, would you date yourself? Would you ask yourself on a date? Ask yourself that. Would I ask me for a date? And if I would, how would I do that? And what would I want my date to be like? That's just an interesting thought, Shelley. Thank you so much. Let's just take a moment and pray together in whatever fashion works for you. Just turn within for a moment. And those of you who are home with us, we're so glad you're here. Let's just move to that heart space where we understand the one power, the one presence, the one source of life that is forever and ever singing its celestial song through us. For in that moment of love, Spirit moved upon itself and created you and me. Created us in its image and likeness, imbued us with all of the power, the creativity, the joy, the magnificence, the life itself that is God, the goddess, the unnameable power for good. Sense that with me right now. Actually move to that place where we recognize our own majesty, our own power, our own creativity as a gift from God. And from this platform of oneness, the word is spoken this morning. The word of health, wholeness, the revelation of perfection moving throughout all of humanity right now. We let go of the fear. We let go of the pain. We let go of anything that has held us back. And we step into the power of life itself as it expresses through us. Oh, this is an amazing gift, an awesome responsibility to reflect God in every word, deed, and action of our lives. And so I speak the word this morning for all of my family and friends and to all people in the South as they gear up and get ready for Hurricane Ida. We know that all is well because all is God there. This morning, our hearts are heavy, and we grieve the loss of 13 military men and women in Afghanistan this week, in Kabul. Another 18 injured, 170 Afghans killed, another 200 wounded in that attack. And we hold our world leaders high right now. We send our support and our love, and we know that they are being divinely guided in all the decisions that must be made now concerning this horrific event. And we especially send our love and our energy into Afghanistan right now for all of our allies, especially the women and the children that are feeling such fear there right now. I know that the hearts of the Taliban are being opened, and that they are going to live up to the agreement that they are making to allow all foreign nationals and Afghans at risk to leave that country. I say this, I stand in this truth, that all is well there. For God is in every circumstance, every situation. God is everywhere present, and I know that the spirit and the love of protection and safety is there as it is all around our world right now, in the places where there is darkness, in the places where there is fear, in the places where there is uncertainty. I know that the love, the Spirit, the energy, and the source of God is right there. For all people around our globe that are being impacted by this pandemic, by this COVID-19. We simply know the truth, that we can take care of ourselves and each other, that we are our brothers and sisters' keepers. We are truly one. And so we accept the mighty responsibility of doing all that we can to protect ourselves, our families, and each other. Whatever choice we choose, we know that choice is made from love. And so we bless our hospitals here in Boise that are completely filled, both hospitals. And we especially bless and send love to all of the healthcare professionals that are working in those hospitals and everywhere in our cities around the world right now. We bless them. We send them love. We send them strength. We send them deep, deep gratitude. And those that are keeping us going, our truckers, our retail workers, our restaurant workers, all that are continuing to do their work so that we can live life as normally as possible, we say thank you. And we blanket our globe right now with the healing energy of Spirit itself. For God is greater than any virus, and our faith is strong. And right now, we give thanks for the healing of our beloved Barbara Balera, who is home right now following her heart surgery this week. We bless her and the doctor that worked on her precious heart. We bless our beloved Ophelia as she is continuing to grow stronger and stronger, awaiting her surgery as well when there is a hospital bed. We bless Susan Newman, her mother's heart that is so hurting for her son who has COVID right now, and knowing that all is well there. We bless Mary Lou, for we know that her divine and perfect home is making its way to her right now, a home of welcome and blessing and love. And for my beloved Lisa Michelle Talamontes, all is well. Every decision is being divinely guided by Spirit. I know this truth for Lisa Michelle on her cancer journey, and for all men and women and everywhere on their journeys to health and wholeness. And for this, we are so deeply grateful. And we bless JJ and Cheryl as they go on their trip this week. Seeing family for the first time in so many years, it is blessed. It is blessed. And I speak a special word today for our children that are returning to school. May they know that everything they need is already within them. And we bless our teachers, knowing that they are divinely protected and guided. And we know that we leave to our children a kinder, a gentler, and a stronger world than the one that was left to us. For all of this and so much more, we are deeply grateful. As we say, Infinite Spirit, living, loving God Almighty, we open the prayer vortex right now for you to speak the name of anyone into the prayer right now. Sister Frida, George, and his surgery. My sister Karen, safety of Greta, in this church. We give thanks. We know it is done. We believe it. We accept it. And so it is. Amen. 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 Thank you. Thank you for being here today. For those of you who are in the sanctuary, thank you for your flexibility and your willingness to wear a mask to take care of each other. Thank you for those of you at home who are watching this right now live or later on Facebook, on Facebook or YouTube. You can watch this video and any video. It's all there on YouTube or at cslboise.org. And speaking of prayer, our practitioners are ready to pray with you right now. You can receive prayer in this church. For those of you who are in the sanctuary, you can receive prayer right now by filling out the blue prayer form that's in the, JJ's going to hold it up so you can see it. The blue form that's in the seat in front or behind you, and placing it in the offering basket or place it in the prayer chest that's out in the lobby. And our practitioners this afternoon will be praying with you, and will pray on this prayer request for 30 days or more. Or you can send, for those of you who are online with us right now, you can send your prayer request to prayers, that's plural, prayers, at cslboise.org. And that will be picked up by Miss Loretta Knowles, who is head of our practitioner prayer team. Or you can right now, for those of you who are online, put your prayer right in that feed and know that everybody's going to see it and everybody's going to pray with you. Or you can call our prayer line. Man, do we have ways for you to get prayer in this church or what? Because we know that prayer works. The power of prayer works. And so you can call 208-375-0791. Is that correct? Wait a second. 208-375-0791. 0791. That's our prayer line, and you can leave your prayer there. So there are so many ways to receive prayer, and right now our practitioners are putting their phone numbers online for you so that you can call them anytime. We are here to pray with you. Again, I want to say thank you, and if we have any visitors who are visiting with us for the first time, we'd love just to say hello and have you stand and let us just put a little thing in your hand so you can know a little bit about us. First-time visitors, you can just put your hand up. You don't even have to stand unless you want to. Let's just welcome them. It is one of my deepest regrets during this COVID time that we absolutely are attempting as an organization to take care of each other by following CDC guidelines. And as you know, one of the CDC guidelines right now is that we do not have hospitality after church. We're so looking forward to having hospitality once again with you, but that doesn't mean that you can't stay and talk to each other, even though maybe you don't have something in your hand, a cup of coffee or something. But really, please do try to get to know our new people, or for those of you who may have not. Isn't it weird to look at each other with masks on? Don't you want to just go? You know, I was in the airport last week as I was going down to Los Angeles on a day trip to say goodbye to one of my friends. That I stood at the security line, and when you're going through with your pass, they say, "Can we see your face, please?" And I said, "How come?" And they said, "Because we have to match your picture to your ID." Think about these masks, what they're doing for folks. But anyway, thank you so much for being there. Also, I just want to say once again, as this is our conscious giving time, how grateful we are for everything that everyone is doing to keep this church going during the summer, and of course to make sure that it's back and ready for you. Stay tuned this week for information about our classes that will begin in September. As you know, we have a midweek Wednesday noon meditation pickup, which I will be doing once again beginning in September. And we are looking at a Wednesday Wednesday evening 45-minute spiritual gathering by Zoom. So stay tuned for all of this information. How do you get this information? Through our e-blast. If you're not on our e-blast, if you are not receiving our e-blast, that means we don't have your email address. And you can fill out a connection card, which JJ's holding up. You can fill out a connection card or just go to office@cslboise.org, office@cslboise.org, and give us your email address, and you will be getting a blast that lets you know the latest information about what is happening, whether the church is open for assembly and what the classes and so forth are going to be doing. So please do check in with us. Now, this is the last day of August that we're going to be together, and so I just want to know, are there any August birthdays in the house? Any August birthdays in the house? Well, today, come on up here. Come on up here, JJ. We have a little something for you. And since we don't have any more August birthdays, since we don't have any more August birthdays, I just want to say that back on the table, there will be a chocolate cupcake for anyone who wants to take a chocolate cupcake home with them, right? So, are you ready? Happy birthday. Wait, stop. Cheryl, Shelly, come on up here. Shelly. You're going to sing on the stage, girl.
Yes.
Yeah, let Shelly sing the first couple of lines.
Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Christina's there.
Happy birthday to you.
Next time a whole song, Shelly. Next time a whole song for you, girl. So Shelly met all of her 3 requirements. Well, she's working on that book, aren't you, girl? Working on that book right now. So happy birthday, Christine. We are so delighted that you are sharing with us. And a special happy birthday to our board member and facilities manager, Miss Beth Ambrose, who is at home with Barbara as she is recuperating from her surgery. Happy birthday, Beth. And to all of you August birthdays, happy birthday. So those of you in the sanctuary, please come and get a specially wrapped, wonderful cupcake. And take it home with you after church, all right? This is our conscious giving time, the time when we return to Spirit that which Spirit has so generously and magnificently given to us. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, or I'm not going to tiptoe around anything with this congregation. Financially, our church, like every church in America, is experiencing financial shortfalls. It is a fact of the summer, which we always have, but it's also, of course, exacerbated by the pandemic. No matter what happens, no matter how much we cut, no matter how much we trim, when you own a building, the expenses of that building do not stop. In fact, our electricity doubled in July over June, and it doubled in August over July. I don't need to tell you why. It's the hottest it's ever been in Boise, Idaho. So while your board of trustees and I are cutting to the bone, we watch every penny here. The reality is that when we own a building, just like you own your home, whether you're in your home or not, the expenses don't change very much on the building. So I just want to not say this from an ominous place, but I want to say it from a place of gratitude to all of you who have supported and continue to support this church every single time we have come to you. We had to buy 2 new air conditioner heaters this year. You came through. We needed a new refrigerator. You came through. Every time that we have asked, you have supported us. And what I want you to hear from me and your board and your congregation is thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your giving. Thank you for your consciousness. And thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your service work. We have the work of the church continues. Right now, we have some opportunities for anyone who has 1 hour about every 4 to 5 weeks to come in and help us clean. Yes, it's not fun. I clean the bathrooms once a month now. JJ cleans the bathrooms. We give because we don't want to spend that money on janitors. We want to spend it on what we need to do. So we're asking if there's anyone around who wants to give an hour once a month or once every 5 weeks, if we had 5 or 6 people, to help us. Please contact JJ or contact the church at office@cslboise.org. We have lots of other things. We're looking for somebody who's a little handy. We need a fascia board replaced. Hint, hint, on the outside. Rex Miller, I don't know if you guys know this, but he is quite a handyman, carpenter, woodworker, house builder, and musician. Yeah, let's give Rex a hand. Yeah, a Renaissance man. Anyway, please contact the church. In the meantime, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's turn within. Thank you, God, for that which has been so generously and magnificently given to us. And we affirm and declare and maintain right now that this is an abundant world, that we are abundantly sourced and supplied, that there is no lack and limitation when we open ourselves up to the flow of the divine in and through us. And so we say, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, life. As together behind your masks we say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is. Amen, amen, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, Becky B.
Nobody can tell ya there's only one song worth singing. They may try and sell ya, 'cause it hangs 'em up to see someone like you. But you gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. You're gonna be nowhere, the loneliest kind of lonely. It may be rough going just to do your things, the hardest thing to do. So you gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. So if you cannot take my hand, and if you must be going, I will understand. You gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. You gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. Have a blessed, light-filled week. Thank you.
And so if you're comfortable, please stand or put your hands out to receive your blessing. God goes before you this week, lighting the way, making the crooked way straight, supporting you, sustaining you, guiding you, and loving you. And let that be the expression of your life as well. Go forth, my friends, and know that you are love.